What's up, everybody? This is Chart Request Live. Welcome back. If you don't know the show, we this is the show where you guys request tickers. We break down the charts. We got a special guest for you today. Sam Gatlin is joining us. Steve is out today. So Sam, we're throwing you in the fire.
Yes, thanks for having me, Patrick.
How you
This is one
doing
of my
today?
favorite shows.
Yeah, no, it's fun. We have a lot of fun on here, and our audience always brings some good tickers for us. So, uh, with that said, anything on your mind?
Yes, Gene brought it up. The dollar has been rising. Gene is asking if the dollar index is basing. Sounds crazy, but it's a possibility.
Yeah, so actually, Gene might have been the one that sent me this chart yesterday, but one of the readers sent me this chart of the dollar. That we had used the dollar for chart of the day yesterday, and this one is looking kind of scary here. I mean, if it's like this, that's pretty scary. If the
Yes, it
dollar
is.
is basing like this, that's ugly, and you're looking at maybe the 2022 highs. So, but what's interesting is, stocks haven't really cared about the dollar this year at all. Dollar's been trending higher all year, and stocks have been making all-time highs up until, this week. So we'll see. We'll see if that correlation kind of stays intact. But anyway, let's
Yes.
get right to it.
Yes. So the first one is from Daniel. Can you look at VLO? That's Valero with a 3 to 6 month time frame. Am I being greedy holding it at these levels?
All right. So, I mean, looks like most energy stocks here. We had this ascending triangle here. I like a good ascending triangle, Sam.
Me too. It's a great pattern.
So, and I like that it was kind of taking place above these former highs here, but it's probably reaching some sort of Fibonacci target here. Yeah, see, right here, probably a pretty logical place to consolidate for a while. But man, I mean, all-time highs. So you could just see a consolidation here for a few weeks. Maybe we come back down, retest the breakout level if you're out now. Maybe buying that retest would be a good idea. And then if it stays above this, you're looking at 223 as your next target.
Yeah, it's a good one.
What do you got next?
So Bien is asking for Taiwan Semiconductor. It's TSM. He did
Yes.
not mention any time frames.
Oh, already got a little bit here. Looking good. Looking real good.
It's a great base.
Yeah, and this one it's taken a few weeks here. I mean, it initially broke out in March and we haven't really taken off yet, but here we are trying to make new highs here. Looks good too. I mean, it's consolidating right above this and it's pretty actionable right now. It hasn't really left the station too much yet, but that's a really nice 2, 3 year base here. Um, Obviously, semis have been a really strong area, and TSM is a really good one here. But as far as targets go, yeah, 193. So if it's above 142, or really call it, what we got here? Yeah, anywhere above 130 looks good. Up to 193 is your first price target.
Yeah, and you could drop a WAP from that pivot high. Find your risk against that.
Yeah, that's a good point. So what he's talking about is, oh, dropped it down to an hour chart here. Well, we're above it now, so um, if anything, that's just confirmation, right? But you could be buying strength down to there, and that coincides with that level too. So buying on pullbacks, buying on any weakness there, but that base looks real nice.
Yeah, it does.
And look at
So
that long-term uptrend, just gone nowhere for the past 3 years.
yes, it's in the right industry too. Semiconductors.
Yes, it
This
is.
is an
Yes.
important company. How big is the market cap on this one?
You tell me. What we got?
150. It's my guess.
650.
650.
That's
Wow.
very, very mega.
I was way off.
All right, what do you got next?
The next one is from Joe. It says, hi guys, please do Shopify for the rest of the year.
Shopify.
I know this is one of Straz's favorites.
Yeah, so I already have it marked up here. You can see what's going on. Rallied back to the 38.2 retracement. Here we are pulling back a little. I don't love that. This has been one of those really solid long-term names, but then ever since the market peaked, it just really hasn't recovered in the same way that other kind of former mega caps have recovered, like a Facebook or things like that. So this one really not much to like about it until it can reclaim these highs from February. If it does reclaim those, you're looking at 118 as your next target, and then if it hits that, then you're looking at 176, the former all-time highs, as your target. But really tough. This one is just not standing up the way it should. I mean, you want to see this trend line stay intact here. If it doesn't, really hard to see a reason to own it. But in terms of the end of the year, there's still hope if it finds support here and then reclaims this 118.
I'm curious what a ratio chart of this benchmark to Amazon would look like.
Shopify
Amazon
looks
Tech,
good.
yeah,
Well,
Amazon's testing those former all-time highs.
I know Amazon's chart looks very good for the first time in years. But so this is ratio chart of Shopify versus Amazon. Shopify not looking good, right?
No,
Here we are just kind of rolling over. This is almost looking like a bear market rally, right? So kind of ugly outlook there on Shopify. But Amazon, on the other hand, beautiful, beautiful base breakout. For being one of the biggest and most loved stocks out there, this thing hasn't looked this good in at least 3 years, probably since the pandemic. So here we have Amazon, one of the most beloved companies in America, breaking out of a really nice 3-year base like that. So I would choose Amazon over Shopify here any day.
me too.
What's next?
This last one from the mailbag is from Wavy.
Oh,
He
wavy.
he likes ticker BJ. Says we have a breakout.
That's a nice one. What do you think of this, Sam?
Yeah, I like it. It's been a good industry to invest in. Kroger's been working. You have Costco, obviously. Been a great one.
Costco's just been a beast. So here's what Wavy's looking at here. This, let's look at it in the daily. Yeah, anywhere, call it, you can call it 80 just to be a round number, but really anywhere above 75 looks good. Looks like the breakout's on. As far as targets go, just fib it out. 92, 93 as your first target. If it gets there, then you're looking at 112, 113.
I like it.
But nice strong uptrend, gone nowhere in the past 2 years. So
Yeah. And let's look at Sprouts, ticker SFM. This is one of
that's
my
good.
favorites.
Oh
It's
yeah?
also a grocery store, $6.5 billion. But what
Yeah.
has my attention is it has 15% short interest and a 12x days to cover ratio.
I don't know if you
Very
remember
extreme.
this, Sam, but we highlighted this one in the buzz a few months ago. And I remember seeing that short interest. It was when it was just starting to break out to all-time highs. And I remember seeing that short interest and just being like, wait, this thing's breaking out of a massive base for the first time since it's gone public. And short interest was like, it was at least double digits. I forget what it was, but what did you say it is now?
15%. The 12 days to cover is bigger to me.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's a really, really nice chart there. Obviously extended from the breakout. And we could do this on a closing basis too. So it hasn't quite reached the target there yet, around 70, call it. Just kind of been pausing for the last month. So I think it could still make it to 70. This is a nice little, almost like a flag, nice little consolidation here.
Yeah,
Probably
you could
up
draw a
for
flag
another,
on that.
yeah, probably gearing up for another punch higher. So if it breaks 65, you're looking at 70 as your upside target. Obviously, you don't want to see it go all the way down here. If you're buying that breakout of 65, maybe using a stop at like 60 or just under that. Um, but this looks like constructive action. Huge base breakout. Really like when it takes out the IPO highs for the first time like this. Kind of reminds me of something like Uber, right?
Yes.
It just kind of came out of that and kind of similar look here, right? We haven't quite reached that target. We've just kind of been consolidating and flagging. And even though the overall markets come back a little bit, you're not seeing a sharp correction. You're seeing more of just kind of consolidation action. So I think that's constructive.
Yeah.
Um,
That's what you see in the best stocks. They correct through time, not price. Just go
absolutely. Yeah.
sideways.
Yeah. But this is a great one. What
All
do we
right.
got?
Next in the chat, we've got one from Joe. He's welcoming me to the party. Thank you, Joe. He wants to see ABV, ticker ABVV.
ABBV.
That's correct.
Ooh, look at that. Already have it marked up here. I won't even clear it. So 175, that was the level you wanted to see it hold. It broke it back in February. Here we are violating it here. Not a good look for AbbVie. Pharmaceuticals and biotech in general have just been kind of a disappointing trade, right, Sam?
They have been, yeah.
We got
You
all
pull up like
excited
the
about them.
IBB or
Yep, we got all
those.
excited about them. I forget when that was. Was it January?
Yeah, earlier this year.
Yeah. So this one, it's tough to do anything with it until it's reclaimed that 175 level. This is a failed breakout, and it could go all the way down to the lower end of this range here, around 135 here. So this is tough. I think you want to be on the sidelines. If you bought this breakout, you got to take the loss here and move on because that is an ugly, ugly look. If it
Yes.
does reclaim that 175, you're looking at 203 as a target though. But other than that, I mean, what a heartbreaking chart to fall apart, right? It was looking beautiful. Hit a base on base. If you zoom out even further, really nice uptrend, finally breaking out. So we'll see. A lot of the times these things can break out, and then the absorbing overhead supply is kind of a process, so kind of messy. But like I said, you need to see it above 175.
Yes. So next in the chat is from my brother. He
From
wants
your
to see
brother.
Huntington Eagles. Yes.
What's
Ticker
that?
HII.
HII. This one
Yes.
showed up on one of our scans recently.
Yes.
I
Aerospace
forget.
and defense.
Yep, yep, okay.
Looks like they build ships.
Yep, that's what it was. Yep. So right here we're retesting. We broke out in February. Here we are, nice retest. This looks pretty actionable. Looks like a healthy retest. What do you think, Sam?
Yeah, I agree. You don't want to see it lose that,
Yeah,
but
but
this is a
beautiful.
good place to accumulate for sure.
Yeah, 5-year base here. Finally resolved higher as far as
You're
target.
seeing a lot of these aerospace and defense stocks resolve higher from multi-year bases like this. It's a
Yeah.
good industry right now.
Any specific ones you have in mind?
I can't remember. I was looking at. I'll come up with it here.
But as far as targets, 368 looks like a decent target here. You don't want to see it get below 265, but looks like the breakout's on. Nice healthy retest here and get involved anywhere between 280 and 265. Your brother's got a good eye.
Yes, he does. for sure. So next is Ravi. He wants thoughts on Uber, which we looked at earlier, and XBI. Let's look
Yeah,
at XBI. We were just talking
yeah,
about.
sure. So this is what we were talking about. Everyone, we all got, myself included, got very excited about this breakout earlier this year, and then it's just kind of really just fallen apart. Here we are back below the VWAP from the all-time highs. I mean, this was a really important level for so many reasons, and just really struggling. But also here we are kind of holding it. It's just been messy. And you really just need to see it back above there, reclaiming that. If it can't, then biotech, it's probably bets are off for biotech for now. But if it can reclaim it, there's a chance. As far as
I know
Uber
that Sean's been interested in selling premium here, betting on a
on
sideways trend.
on IBB,
Yeah,
listen, I mean it's been sideways for a while, so nothing's changing too much. It's just been dealing with this level here around in 130, 140. Just really messy. But let's take a look at Uber again real quick. So targets somewhere here around 85 to 90, depending on how aggressive you want to be. But like I said, this action here really constructive that you're not seeing a sharp correction. It's more of kind of a consolidation, more of like almost like a flag here. Um, but trend is intact, the breakout's intact. I think you probably see it stall here before you ultimately resolve higher. But if it does, then you're looking at 125 to 135 here is your next kind of area of resistance. But looks like the breakout's on.
yes. Let's look at Lyft. This one has popped up on our freshly squeezed scan. Has about 15% short interest with 3 days to cover.
15%?
Uh, yes, it's got a nice little volume pocket it's about to go into. You had
Yeah,
that
so
massive down candle after an earnings report.
yeah, so you're talking about we got to drop it into a daily here, but this massive volume pocket is what you're talking about here. And here we are knocking on those that resistance level again. So I think with this one we got to put it against Uber, right? Let's look at that.
Yeah,
So again, we have Uber versus Lyft. So if the line's going up, that means Uber's outperforming. If it's going down, it means Uber's underperforming Lyft. And here we are at a pretty important level here. If it breaks down here, that's a world where Lyft is outperforming Uber. That's probably a good environment for the market if people are preferring that one to Uber. Maybe people are moving further out on the risk spectrum. Um, but I think you might have to go with Lyft here. What do you think, Sam?
I agree. I do.
Which is surprising because Uber is a great chart too, but this one I like that volume pocket a lot. And if it's above 20, love the short interest that you mentioned. You could play it to 25, 26. That's where the VWAP from the all-time high is. Also from the IPO price. It's man, this thing went public and it's just been straight down ever since. So yeah, looks like 20 gets you 25 is your first stop, but I think you want to hold on a little further. 30 um, as your next stop there.
I like it. Let's look at RRGB. They mentioned it has about a 17x days to cover ratio.
Red Robin. Wow. Man, what an ugly chart, huh? Have you ever been to a Red Robin?
I have.
What do you think?
There's worse things, for sure. Kind of like Applebee's.
So yeah, this one tough one to like here, but it is holding a pretty key level. What did you say short interest was?
Looks like 23% short interest
Oh
and
wow.
um, 10x days to cover ratio.
Wow. But as a friendly reminder, sometimes things are shorted for good reason. So high short interest is not enough of a reason on its own to go out and buy a stock, but you couple it with the fact that it's at support here, as long as it's above 550, I don't hate it, but and it could really squeeze here. You could get a double out of this, it could, even if it just goes back to the year-to-date highs, we're talking uh, $6 to 12, so a double. So I get it. The juice is there. But it's really just really can't get up off the ground. It is holding it for now, but I wouldn't let this thing go below 550. You could even use six as your out if you want to be a little bit more aggressive here or more conservative.
Next, we have Mr. Ian Coley.
Hey, Ian,
He's wanting us to look at Krispy Kreme,
Krispy
ticker
Kreme.
DNUT. This one also has some pretty extreme short interest.
Yeah,
Looks like
Krispy.
17% short interest and
Whoa.
5x days to cover ratio. I
Is
saw some news a few weeks ago that they're going to be putting Krispy Kreme donuts in every McDonald's.
Whoa. Man, smells like diabetes.
Yes.
This one's kind of messy here. What'd you say short interest was?
It's about 18%.
Okay, pretty juicy. I think you want to see it reclaim 16 before you can get too excited about it here. What was this here? Was that maybe that was that announcement you were talking
I
about?
think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because it wasn't earnings. We know that. So yeah, you got the pop, but it really didn't hold that too well. So you got to err on the more bearish side as long as it's below 15, 16 here. But if it reclaims that, you already kind of tagged this level of overhead supply around here. So I think you're looking at the former highs around 18 or 19 if it does reclaim 16. Um, but other than that, kind of a messy chart. You just have this sideways chop. I think it went public again in 2021. Yeah, so tough time to go public. But Sam, this was actually the first stock I ever bought. But back when it was Krispy Kreme done it when the ticker was KKD. I think they went private and then public again. But what was the first stock you ever bought?
Apple was the first stock. Uh,
Okay, that's a good one.
yeah.
That's not lately, right?
No, no. It's
What
been
do
a
you think of
loser.
Apple here though? Would you buy it here? A lot of hate
I
for
wouldn't buy it here. I would sell some premium in it, but
there's an idea, right? Kind of take advantage of that,
yeah,
especially because volatility's jacked up a little bit. I don't hate it here, to be honest. I think first of all, sentiment's pretty bad right now for it. Hasn't participated
yeah.
at all. I like that you got this momentum divergence. Didn't hit oversold when it made that high or when it made a new low yesterday. Uh, and kind of coming out of this downtrend here. So I don't hate Apple here. And also what that means for the broader market, you can have other mega caps correcting, and if Apple's moving higher, that kind of allows some of the others to correct and kind of that rotation within mega caps, keeping the indexes afloat. But yeah, like I said, Apple, not the worst thing here. 180 is as a first target. That 180 level is really key for Apple. You want to see it reclaim that. But I don't think this is the top that everyone thinks it is. So
What do you think about the Vision Pros, Pat? Are you a buyer?
I probably won't rush out to get them anytime soon, but uh, you never know, right? You never know. I think might have a hard time catching on, especially with that price point, but it is pretty cool. Looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
And do you
You'd
know
have to
anyone
imagine the
that's,
future generations will come down pretty significantly.
yeah, for sure. Do you know anyone that's used it?
No, I don't. I was watching the morning show the other day and Craig Johnson was, did you see that?
I didn't know. Did he bring one on?
He did, yeah. He
Oh,
said
wow.
that every time he flies, he's looking at charts with
Craig
his
is
Vision
Craig is a
Pro.
very interesting guy. Very, very
He
nice
is.
guy. Yeah, he mines crypto and he does a lot of cool stuff. So
He like heats his house with his crypto miner. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, something like that. Like pays his electricity bill with the crypto mining profits.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Anyway, what
All
else
right.
we got? Anything else?
Ian also wanted to look at HLX. You're gonna have
H.
to zoom out on this one. It's a 1.8 billion oil and gas equipment and services company.
Oh, Ian's bringing the heat.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, it looks real good over 11. I think you're looking at these 2015, this little shelf from 2015 around 16 or $17. And then if it can reclaim that, then you're looking at 27, 26, 27. But this is real nice here. I mean, just really soared off of those COVID lows and just consolidating here since September. So looks a little bit better than some of the other names, but really like it over 11 or 12. Yeah.
And this is where you want to be looking if we're in an energy bull market.
Yeah.
More offensive plays, equipment and services, things like
Yeah.
that. Not so much the marketing stocks,
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
refining stocks.
Yeah, Sam, I'm surprised we haven't had any mining stocks.
Me too. Yeah, those have been hot.
Any
Uh,
favorite ones?
the
I'll say this.
Harmony is a good one. HMY.
Yeah, I think so. With gold, I think you got to be a little bit careful at chasing here because you have reached the first Fibonacci level here, right at that. So this is a pretty logical level to consolidate here. It's been on such a strong run.
Boy, did it hit that fast.
Right, yeah,
It took 3 weeks.
yeah. But the way I'm drawing it, Sam, the way I've drawn it recently is I've been doing the fib from this base too. So you got the one from the base from 2020 to 2024, but then this one is just a little bit higher. Oh, so somewhere in that zone is probably where you want to expect some sort of consolidation, somewhere between call it around 2400. Um, that's kind of your next level. Then you're looking at 2800 as beyond there. But after the run it's had, I think it probably needs a break for a little bit. So you want to be careful on chasing here with gold and also probably the gold miners. You mentioned HMY.
Yeah,
That one looks great. But what do you do here, right? Like, how do you get in at this point? You got to kind of wait for a pullback because it's already halfway to its target, right?
yeah,
So that's it's tricky, even with these commodity plays right now. It's almost like once the trend becomes apparent, it's just too late to get onto it. So you really got to be on top of these.
for sure. You got to buy the breakout.
Yeah.
All right,
Anything
next we've got one from Trey. He wants to look at net. Says he appreciates the show.
else?
Thank you, Trey.
We appreciate you guys coming and bringing your tickers here. So you can see I already have it drawn up here. I like that it's above this 70, call it 75. But you can see this was a really important level here. Failed at it a couple times. Also coincides with the VWAP from all-time highs here. So very constructive seeing it hold that. Tagged the 61.8, hold back a little bit here. That's pretty normal, pretty healthy. You want to see it reclaim that. I think if you're looking to put on a trade, you wait for the breakout of 112 here. Then you're playing it back to all-time highs around two, 210, 220. But not the worst, not the worst looking one. A lot of these this is software, right?
That's
Um,
correct. I'm like cloud.
I always get some of the software names and some of the cybersecurity names confused. But uh, a lot of the software stocks have not rebounded in the way that you kind of hoped, right? In the way that some of the other areas of technology have.
For sure, Patrick.
Um,
I was looking at Palo Alto the other day. It's really respecting the fib levels. If you want to pull that up.
Yeah. So you're talking about this breakout here?
Yeah,
This one?
at 161.8 after I think that was an earnings report,
Is that
down
the
like 16%.
you're talking about this one, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, first hit that Fibonacci level or just kind of missed it, but definitely acted as resistance here. Now it's acting as support. Yeah. So as long as it's above that 264 level, you're looking at 345, 350. If it gets there, then you're looking at this 477. Pretty strong breakout.
for sure.
Anything
And let's
else?
look at United Health next, ticker UNH.
UNH. Oof. This one's struggling.
Joe asked if it's correcting through time.
It sure
Is it a
is.
good buy
Or a goodbye.
or a
Uh,
good buy?
so this one, I think you got to be careful with this one. It's poking its head over the edge here. Below 450 looks pretty ominous for this one. That looks awfully toppy. It was looking kind of like a consolidation. You had the breakout here at the end of December, but that breakout failed, and here we are taking out. This held up as support throughout the entire bear market, and here we are taking it out. That's not a good sign. So you got to be careful with this one. If you're long, I think you just get out here and wait for it to recover that 450 level. Nothing wrong with getting back into it if it does reclaim that level. And if it does, if this is a failed top, then that's very bullish. So it's at really an inflection point right now where it's either going to go a lot higher or
A
significantly.
lot lower.
Yeah, I think it could even drop to the pre-COVID highs around 300 if
That
it's
would be
below
nasty.
450.
And I'd
Yeah,
imagine if you benchmark this to the S&P, it's already broken down.
you're probably right. Yeah. So good point. Yeah. I mean, it's tough to make a case for owning it here, right?
Definitely.
But some of these health insurance stocks like a UNH, they held up relatively well when everything else was struggling. So maybe they're acting as kind of like a safe haven and people, now that riskier areas of the market have started participating, maybe people are rotating into that and away from these. But regardless of what the reason is, below 450 looks like a problem.
Definitely. And next in the chat, we've got Halliburton, ticker HAL.
Ooh,
Serby
no,
likes
that's
it.
not it.
Trey also likes it. Um, they see a large wedge pattern.
Yeah, looks like an ascending triangle. You can call it whatever you want. I mean, it's all semantics, but looks really good here. Surprised that it hasn't broken out yet.
Yeah, you'd imagine it's on its way there. This is another one of those oil field services and equipment stocks.
Yeah,
Risk on energy.
here's that ascending triangle. You have the horizontal resistance at 44, and then this trend line that's been in place since the September lows. If you get the breakout above 44, I think you're looking at these 2018 highs around 54. Wait, what did I say? If you get the breakout above 44, then you're looking at 54, which is these 2018 highs.
You'd
54.
imagine there's some market memory back there.
Yeah, absolutely. Right here, I mean, that was kind of resistance. I know it's a little messy here, but anywhere between 55 and 50 or 54 and 58, that was resistance from 2016 to 2018 for 2 years. So 44 gets you to 54. From there, then you're looking at the 2014 highs, which I'm guessing are the all-time highs. Yeah. Yeah. Um, as your next target. That's all the way up to 73, but probably getting ahead of ourselves there. You want to see this actually break out first. That is a little bit of a red flag that here we are, energy has been breaking out, but this one hasn't quite gone yet. But if it does, 54 is your next place to look.
For sure. We've got one from Joe T. This is a good one. Ticker NTNX. This is another cloud stock.
Yeah,
A little
yeah,
stronger than the Cloudflare.
yeah. This is a great one. And also kind of a constructive consolidation here to the right. You got the breakout and it's holding really nicely. You could kind of move this down here. Yeah, if it's above 65, you're looking at 97 as your target, 98 really. You could even call it 100 if you want, but I like to get out a little bit before some of those psychological levels like that. But this one looks great, really fantastic. Reminds me of Uber, or what was the other one? SFM. You're breaking out for the first time since the IPO of a multi-year base. Looks really good. I think you could be even buying here is fine. Um, as long as it's above, and you could use last week's low as your out point. So as long as it's above 59, looks good all the way to 97, 98.
I like it a lot. And
Is there short interest on this or?
let me check. You'd hope not, Patrick.
For
No,
the
there's
for the short
not.
sake, right?
Yeah. Oh my. Next, we've got ETRN. Brian Harris likes this one. I like it a lot too. This is an oil and gas pipeline. They transport a lot of water as well.
Hmm. That doesn't seem cost effective transporting water like that, but anyway, yeah, you got the breakout 2, 3 weeks ago. If it's above 1150, I'd call it the breakout level. Anywhere above 11 really is good. Um, I think you're looking here. Let's fit this out first.
Yeah, I'd imagine that's a retracement level there.
Yeah, right. You look at these enough times and you can almost see them, right? Look,
You really can.
good eye. So that was the 38.2, probably why it acted as resistance for so long. Uh, Tricky spot here, right? Because the breakout's already on. What do? You wait for a pullback here. You could do that. Um, it does look like it's on its way to 16, but kind of tricky to get in here. I think you got to wait for the pullback here. But other than that, it looks like a great chart. And if it does reclaim 16, then you're looking at the IPO highs around 2350. Looks like a good one.
Yeah, it's a good trade. Ravi Gupta wants us to look at Litecoin,
Litecoin,
LTC,
awesome.
a classic. Did you ever trade Litecoin, Patrick?
I think I have. I think I have. It's not one of my go-tos, not one of my favorites, but I think I have. What about you?
No, I have not.
Probably good.
Yeah.
So not as strong as some of the others, but here we are, little base here. If it can reclaim 115, then looks good playing it back to even all-time highs, but this is a really important level here. I think it's gotta resolve. Nice little base here though. I like that. So if it does reclaim 115, it could really run to wow, three.
What's it look like if you drop a WAP from that 21 high?
Yeah, let's actually do both highs. Yeah, right around there. So right over this level, really making it even more important. You could use 120 as confirmation of the breakout. Um, but you could see why if it breaks that, it does have a chance of running back to those former highs because that's kind of the final VWAP, right? Is once you draw it from all-time highs, if it's breaking that, that's pretty important.
That is.
What do we got? Anything else? Should we shut it down?
Next in the chat, let's look at uranium before we go.
Uranium.
Let's look at the URNM ETF.
URNM. Okay.
And then CCJ also looks good.
Yeah. So I just pulled up URA, very similar. That's kind of my go-to vehicle. I'm not as familiar with this one, but looks good. I mean, looks like it's intact here. Uranium took kind of a break after it broke out, but
Definitely. Straza likes to say that this is more of a secular trend. You
yeah,
just want to tuck these away for years at a time.
yeah, I think that's probably good advice here. But for URNM, anytime it's above 50, looks good. Looks like the breakout's on, and you're looking at a target of 66, 67. But looks good. Yeah, uranium, I like it. URA,
Why don't you pull up CCJ, Patrick?
yeah, sure, let's do that.
Gunning for those highs.
Here we go. Gotta put it in a monthly. My gosh. Man. So this thing peaked back in 2007. Here we are testing those 2007 highs. Uh, if it can break it, here, let me move this down here to the closing prices. If it gets that breakout, man,
What a great chart. Wow.
oh, sorry.
It's right there, Patrick.
Oh man. Yeah, so if it eclipses these, let's call it anywhere above 50, I think the breakout's on up until 80s. You're looking at for your initial target. Beyond there, you're looking at around 125 as your next target. But this thing is a massive base, just gone nowhere since 2007, and you're just trying to break out here. Now, a really long-term breakout like that, you might get a false start. It might be messy. Maybe that's what we saw these last few months already. So it might have been out of the way with this. You know, we tried to break out here earlier in the year and corrected here. So maybe the shakeout's already there, but that is a really long-term breakout. I really like it.
Me too.
Is this your favorite uranium stock?
It is. It really is.
You like the UEC? I like that one too.
I like it too.
Hasn't quite broken out yet, but and it's not nearly as big as CCJ. I think CCJ is
Yeah,
the biggest, right?
it is. Yeah.
Should we let's leave it here for today, yeah?
Let's do it. This was good.
But Sam, yeah, thank you so much for filling in for Steve. This was good. We gotta have you on more often.
Yes. This was fun, Patrick.
And thank you guys in the chat for joining us as always. And if we missed any of yours, or if you want us to take a closer look, just email us at questions@stockmarketmedia.com. And Steve or myself will be sure to get to it next week. But other than that, have a great weekend. Yeah. And thank you guys for coming.
See you guys.